Welcome back, everyone, to another episode. And today we are speaking with Jodie Lamb. Jodie is a master structured settlement consultant. She guides injured people through the complicated and complex settlement process. She brings understanding, compassion, and commitment to the uncertainty, emotional, physical, and financial struggle resulting from an unexpected injury. Jodie, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
I know we shared some time during Podfest back in January, but and I know that your lane of work is so vital, especially if you get injured. So I'm so happy to have you today. And folks, we will be speaking about unlocking financial stability, the power of structured settlement. But before we get into that conversation, Jody, tell us a little bit about you.
Hey, well, thank you so much. And hello to all the guests out there. Love to have you here today and look forward to getting to share some information about you. My name's Jody. I live here in Dallas, Texas. We had some wonderful storms blowing through yesterday that gave my kids some experience on tornado life. Fortunately, we are all well and safe. But I live here in Dallas. I grew up in Ohio. But I have the privilege of being in the structured settlement industry, stemming from an education in finance with a concentration in insurance, a professional background that included financial planning, working with major large insurance companies, dealing with individual investments, and negotiating personal injury cases. I'm uniquely qualified and come into the structured settlement space working with attorneys, working with injured parties, working with employers, working with anyone who's looking to help mitigate tax liability, secure financial peace of mind, safeguard settlements for years to come, and make a little magic with money along the way.
I love that. And this is a topic that I know very little of, although I am a combat veteran. The VA takes care of most of all of that issue. But there are some times that, apart from the military, you do get injured and then you end up in a settlement of some sort. But we're always looking to give us a good financial structure because money coming in and going out is not a good relationship unless that money coming in is actually working to create a good financial security. So, can you explain how structured settlements provide long term financial security and stability for the recipient, especially compared to receiving a lump sum?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, let me pause and thank you so much for your service. 26 years of service in the Navy. Thank you. Coming on the heels of Memorial Day to all of our servicemen and women. Thank you so much for your dedication, time, and service. But to answer your question, what is a structured settlement? How does it provide the long term security? When people are negotiating a personal injury case, or it could be employment litigation case, it could be caused by a car accident, it could be a dog bite, it could be hurt from workplace injury. When they are negotiating their settlement, they're going to be not uh, in a position where you are, where the VA continues to take care of your medical expenses, but they're going to be settling their claim and not having ongoing care in the future. So if they have an injury that requires future medical care, they might be worried about who's going to take care of those expenses. What doctor do they go to? Who's going to pay the bills? Who is the money going to be there? When they're settling their injury case, that promise is no longer there. So, what we do is we provide options to help them evaluate opportunities to invest a portion of that settlement to be paid in the future. And that investment on a personal injury case is tax free. So, if they were going to have future medical care, or if they have anticipated future surgeries, or they're not able to return back to work, or maybe not even to the same occupation that they had before and make the same income, we can help them utilize their settlement, which takes in consideration their future needs, to make sure that it's there when they need it in the future. And we do it with a little bit of a magic. When personal injury settlements are tax free, those future payments, when built into the conditions of settlement, also are tax free. So let's imagine that you are settling an injury case and you're not able to return to work, and you know that you needed a certain amount of money every single month to make sure that your immediate needs and fixed costs are met. So your home, your expenses for daily life. When you settle that case, you'll know that you're going to receive X dollars a month, $5,000 a month for however long it is that you need it for. Ultimately, the numbers work out based on the negotiation terms, but whatever those future needs are, we can customize plans to make sure that those needs are met. Now, not always is everybody in need of future medical care or injury. Thankfully, most recover and are not having any long term significant um, issues that require financial service, so they might be able to put money aside potentially for retirement. A tax-free environment or tax-free investment vehicle is not something that can be duplicated in traditional retail investment products. So if you take your settlement, which is tax-free, and you reinvest it yourself, that growth becomes taxable. We get involved when people are settling their case to show them options that if they use that same money for that same purpose when they retire or when they schedule for their money to be paid out, it's tax free. So it is a unique investment opportunity that only exists at time of settlement. And that's where we get involved. We help people understand those choices when they're negotiating their case. We talk to them about what their fears are. What's keeping them from settling their case? What keeps them up at night? What are their goals? What are their dreams and wishes? How do they see this money helping them going forward? It might even be for their child. For an injured party who is under the age of majority, the courts won't let they're not able to legally receive the money. So alternatives to a cash settlement could be putting the money in a block savings account or having the registry of the court hold it until they reach age of majority. That gives a lot of money to an 18-year-old, a lot of money. And Eric, I don't know about you. When I was 18, I didn't exactly make the best financial choices. I was pretty smart, had a good head on my shoulder, but life experiences teaches us how to appreciate the value of money. And when we're 18, we may not have that full appreciation. And quite frankly, at 47, I'm still learning every day myself. When they settle a structured settlement for a minor settlement, again, that money is paid tax free. The parents customize how that payment is going to be made. So it could be used for paying for future college expenses, down payment on a home, or expenses for a wedding, a new car, future medical expenses. It could be anything, including a lifetime of guaranteed income that that party can never outlive. That's what we do. We help provide financial security and peace of mind for years to come, helping safeguard their settlement with unique tax free options that can't be duplicated outside of their settlement.
And I love that because as you're talking, I'm thinking about a family member that was injured as a child. I guess my mom got into a settlement and that money was set aside. Well, the 18 came up and that money was divvied out. It was a substantial amount that since then has gone away. It actually went away within probably a couple of years and because to your point, there's not that much education to be frank about what happens with money at 18, and
Right.
so it just got squandered, I believe. And anyway, I remember my mom buying a home in Ocala in the I would say in 2000, about 2000, I would say, and it was 58,000. Well, that money would have bought that house,
Yeah.
right? And so if this family member had the opportunity, that would have been boom, done, and nothing to show for it today. But you mentioned the tax implication, right? You said tax free. Now, there's tax advantages, obviously, for structured settlements, as you mentioned, but how does that compare to tax implications, let's say, for receiving it, as a lump sum, type of payment?
Sure. Well, a personal injury case is going to be paid typically tax free. When there's no personal injury case, let's say it's employment litigation, construction defect, or other cases that fall in that realm without the physical bodily harm. The IRS says that those are going to be potentially taxable. So every case is unique. I'm not going to give a blanket statement that everything is tax free or everything's not tax free. But if there's not a physical injury, qualifies as a non-qualified structured settlement, in which case we can help with tax mitigating strategies, including tax deferral of that obligation to pay tax responsibilities. Specifically, if you get a settlement that's taxable year one, when you get that income, you're going to have to pay taxes. Alternative to that, if you structure it, is it paid over time, and then you pay taxes on the money when you receive it. So not only is the money being invested pre-tax, so investing at the full value, but it's going to be paid out over time, potentially at a lower marginal tax bracket, increasing the total recovery of that party. Now, when they have the personal injury settlement, that is a tax-free settlement typically, and those payments are made tax-free, whether it is a cash settlement all at time when the case settles, or it's cash and a combination of future payments. Those future payments may have the same cost as the cash settlement, but those future payments are going to grow, and that growth is tax free. No tax ever on interest, dividends, and capital gains, which is huge. You look at market based investments, and to say that there's never any tax on that from the income is significant opportunity that many people are excited about, especially financial planners. Once they really get their, they roll up their sleeves and they get to challenge me on all of this, they get really excited because we can customize those payments. It's not like we have to start payments within a year, or there's penalties if it's paid before age 59 and a half. These custom structured settlements are a condition of settlement, so we get around a lot of those restrictions when we are investing that money for injured parties to make sure that the money's there for years to come. Like you said, typically money is going to be gone, dissipated very quickly. You look at the professional athletes. What is the percentage? And I don't know it off the top of my head. Just a rhetorical question here, but think about it: the number of stories that you hear of professional athletes who file bankruptcy, making multi-million dollars, tens of hundreds of $1 million over their career, and have nothing to show for it shortly after they finish, or even during their career. Look at lottery winners. Same story. You hear the stories of like how lottery ruined my life. Most people do not have the financial education in place to preserve money for years to come. And that's not any fault of them. It often comes from our influencers in our life, our experiences, and I think lack of education in our system, our public education system for financial skills management and planning for the future.
Yeah, I've always said money is not the problem. It's your relationship with money. That's the problem.
I got
If
a
there's
spending
any,
problem
right?
too. Right.
Well, the spending or not valuing, not knowing, and not understanding or appreciating that these are resources, right? These are resources that we have that are needed, right? You need it in our world, but that relationship, whether it's healthy or unhealthy, determines the longevity and the future income that comes through these settlements or any money you receive, really. It could just be your paycheck, right? And you can really have a good, healthy relationship with that and make it really grow or work for you in the future. Now, you mentioned the flexibility, right? The scheduling of payments and things of that nature. So, structured settlements are known for their flexibility. But could you share how these settlements can be, let's say, customized to meet the unique needs of the recipients, such as scheduling payments and for specific future expenses?
Sure, absolutely. At the time of settlement, structured settlements are extremely flexible. We can do almost anything. But the payments can be truly tailored to every unique individual's needs. We can do multiple benefit streams. We can do lump sum payments. We can help offset mortgages. So you had the reference of the house purchase. Someone may want to buy a house, but they want to take advantage of the write off on taxes, especially with as expensive as interest rates are. If they need to take a loan, they can still, or if they have an existing loan, they can use their structure to make those payments over time, still getting the tax write off. But every case is unique. So we talk to everybody, find out what their needs are, and then we build plans around those. Now, what is not flexible about a structured settlement is once it is settled, once the claim is agreed upon, everyone has approved the distribution and the payments, then it becomes set in stone. We're not going to change it going forward. So at negotiations, at time of settlement, there's much flexibility to include payments that even increase annually or are fixed and market-based investments and or guaranteed for life. I'll even throw in that we can customize plans with those who have had catastrophic injuries or even injury or even conditions outside of their accident that reduces their life expectancy that help improve their total payout over time, taking in consideration the fact that they may not have as long of a life as someone of their same age, but without those conditions. Ultimately, we're here to provide that peace of mind so that when they settle, those needs are taken care of so that they can proceed with confidence and know that the money's going to be there when they need it in the future going forward. Because honestly, just like with the lottery winners, the friends and family start to come out of the woodwork when they hear you have money. And sometimes our generous hearts want to help those who are in need, but we also need to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. And when we put money aside for our future, for our needs, for our family, that's exactly what we help facilitate. And it's truly flexible and customizable to every individual at the time of settlement.
Yeah, people will come out. Believe me.
Right,
It's like, "What? You're my 4th cousin? From where?"
right, right.
So,
From under
yeah,
that
yeah,
rock.
definitely want to make sure that you're ready for that if you are in the situation that you are structuring a settlement. Always good to plan for the unexpected because it will come up. But we'll talk about unexpected. Sometimes legal issues come up during that money influx, right? And or you have to protect that financial resource now. So legal and financial protection is crucial for many of the recipients. So, how do structured settlements ensure protection from financial mismanagement, as we've been covering, and provide legal safeguards, particularly for the vulnerable individuals?
That's a great question. A lot of information there to unpack. So let's talk about the kids first, or anyone that requires court approval. The best way we can do to help protect them is we put those future payments in some sort of confidential provisions so that it cannot be discoverable in a public court records. That's important for factoring companies that often will scrub the court records to figure out who is receiving a structured settlement. You've all heard the commercials. You want the money now. What they're doing, those same companies are buying structured settlements because they can't be duplicated in traditional retail investment products. They know exactly what the rate of return is, and they're going to buy either a portion or all of those future payments in lieu of cash today. That is at a substantial discount, often pennies on the dollar, and it rarely benefits that payee who should be receiving the funds. I'm not to say, there's not cases out there where there's a time and place, but unfortunately, there's a lot of predatory efforts out there that reach out to our most vulnerable, the young or the severely injured or the incompetent who required the court's involvement to make sure that their settlement was safe and fair and protected. So when we file settlements with minor children, we often work with the attorneys to make sure it's done confidentially. When working with adults that don't require court approval, there's less of that in play, but we certainly do still make sure that they're protected. But we're doing it with extremely financially sound companies we've all known and heard of in the industry with AM Best, A plus, higher rated ratings, and names that are common now household names. I mean, we got Prudential, we got MetLife, Berkshire Hathaway, USAA, New York Life, Pacific Life. There's just so many options out there that we evaluate because every case is unique and every company prices things differently. So we come in, we shop, we serve as a broker. We work between the parties settling the case and the parties receiving that settlement to find options that meet those future needs, give them the education, and let them make informed decisions. I mean, these are often one of the biggest financial decisions people are going to make in their life. We want to make sure that they're educated and have those choices. And that means reaching out to leaders like you have in your network, helping them understand how to help them, help themselves, help their staff, help their communities. Because this only exists at time of settlement. After they take that settlement money, I can't help them anymore. The IRS says you now have constructive receipt of that settlement, and a structured settlement is no longer an option. So, making sure that a settlement is done right, making sure that it's done with a company that's going to be there years to come in the future, is how we help protect that settlement for years to come and give them peace of mind so that they know that their money is going to be there for the future as agreed upon at time of settlement.
Now that's great to know. Now, in terms of market risks, how do structured settlements offer stability and security compared to other financial instruments?
Good question. I guess it depends on everyone's individual financial tolerance and preferences because we have options. The most basic option is a fixed and guaranteed annuity. You know exactly how much your money is going to grow, when you're going to get the check, and exactly how much it's going to be for. And you know when the first payment's going to be, when the last payment's going to be. So a fixed annuity is the easiest and set it and forget it option that most people will utilize when settling an injury case because again most time these people are not familiar with investments, they're not comfortable with understanding a lot of market based terms. And so that is where their comfort lies when they're dealing with a settlement that needs to be there to meet future needs. They don't have that risk tolerance to accept the volatility. They may not have the financial means in place to handle the ups and downs of a market based option. That option exists. There are opportunities for Vanguard, BlackRock, even working with their own financial advisor in a managed portfolio that is an opportunity. Now, we don't know exactly what those numbers are going to be because it's going to be future based growth. But what we do determine is exactly when those payments are going to be made and how that calculation is going to be done. So we know the account balance on any given day divided by the number of future payments or by the formula that's going to determine how that payment is going to be made. We don't know what that number is. So that risk tolerance and that volatility isn't right for everybody. Sometimes we do something a little different, a blend, a little bit of market based, but with a floor, a guarantee. Money can never go down. It could always go up if the market's growing, but there are options between that give people the complete confidence to know exactly what they're going to receive versus the extreme of it's market based and it's going to have ups and downs to we have ups and downs with a floor that gives them guarantee and confidence. So those opportunities are across the board and are discussed with everyone we work with.
Now, earlier you mentioned some of the insurance companies that I know because some of them I use myself. But can you elaborate on the role of insurance companies in guaranteeing these payments?
Sure, absolutely. So, when an insurance company who is at fault for an accident, or an employer, or a defendant is settling a case, they first have to make the obligation to settle the case with those future payments. Those future payments are then assigned to an assignment company. The assignment company serves as the owner of that policy that is going to hold those obligations to make to the injured party. They're going to buy a life insurance, or sorry, they're going to buy an annuity policy. They're going to buy an investment asset that will grow and be able to fund those future payments. Now, the individual insurance companies are backed by individual state insurance funds. They have both assets and reserves in file. They have guarantees from both the assignment company and the life company. There's multiple provisions in place to make sure that the money's protected, to make sure that when the benefits are paid, that they are as agreed upon at time of settlement.
Folks, I am getting educated left and right because this is something new for me. And I hope that you have also received the education needed if you are in a situation where you may be injured and you have to get into these negotiations, these conversations with professionals. Now, Joe, thank you so much for elaborating on all the questions asked today and educating us. Now, if someone listening says, "Man, I am down this path right now and I need somebody," well, what do you have coming up, first of all, for you? And how can the listener or viewer get a hold of you?
Well, I appreciate this. Thank you so much. First of all, let me clarify working with me costs you nothing. It costs the insurance company, it costs your employer, it costs your attorney nothing. Our services are consultative. If this case settles with the structure, we're paid by the assignment company that we talked about. They are the ones that hold that obligation to make the future payments. So that's how we get compensated. So full disclosure, that's on the table. So never hesitate to ask and make introductions because again, knowledge is power, and hindsight's 2020. One of the best ways we share information about this is through LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn. On there, I have a live stream that is being shared also on YouTube. I can be found on LinkedIn under Jodie Lamb. You can find my website, safeguardyoursettlement.com. I'm also an employee of arcadia.com. And so we have a lot of resources on how you can find us, get to know me better, learn more about structured settlements, reach out to us. There's chat box, there's emails. Always can send me messages, and I'm happy to help in any way.
Outstanding. Well, folks, we will have all that information as part of the show notes, the video for you to be able to get a hold of Jody and all of her services that they are providing. And if you find yourself in an injury that you're having to go down the structured settlement path, she is the person to speak to. And that is why I have her on the show. Just want to remind everybody that today's episode is sponsored by Fantel Services and Superpass, which are powering our website and app, Southern Sweet and Sassy Coffee, The Outlier Project, and Duco. And if you've enjoyed this episode and learned something interesting about the topic covered today, make sure to subscribe and let us know by leaving a comment. And we're always looking for new ideas and guests that we can add to our show. So if you know someone or have a topic that you would like featured on the podcast or want to sponsor our show, let us know by leaving an email at triadleadershipsolutions@gmail.com. And today's podcast is brought to you by StreamYard, a browser based tool that lets you live stream to any platform and record podcasts in studio quality. And we're using it to record this podcast today. Be sure to tune in next week for another episode where we dissect leadership from another angle. And as we like to end the show, success to you.